It's with a bit of sadness today. We remember a friend of ours, George Johnston, curator of the Superstition Mountain Museum, passed away this past Tuesday, and he's a good guy. George was 97 years old. We really enjoyed the time we spent with him filming Legend of the Superstition Mountains, and probably one of the most iconic scenes for me in the film was we arrived at Clay's house and went out on Clay's back patio, and Frank and myself, and I believe Magnuson was there, and we had Jack Sanfelice, Clay Wurst, and George Johnston there with us and going over some stuff. Just kind of thinking back, we did a lot of other filming with George, and they didn't include it in the episodes. Some stuff about the stone maps, and there was a visit with George in his office, and it's a shame it didn't make the cut, but for myself, Frank Augustine, Woody Wampler, Eric Deleel, and Eric Magnuson, Maya Candias, my friend, and soon enough, we will meet again on the road. You might be asking yourself, where's everybody? Yeah. Some days I can wonder the same thing. It's just me. So we began with 5. Well, started out me, and it went to 5, and there were 3 of us. And now there's just little old me back in the canyons. I do believe today, another one of those days, and I live and breathe for this stuff, I am the only person back in here. So again, that's always cool. So, and it's a beautiful day. So I'll be enjoying this. You can't ask for a better backdrop, what you're walking into. So we'll see what we find today. More of the same, and we'll kind of check that out once we get up here around the bend and back up into the flat.
Wayne has a bad habit of going off into the mountains by himself. Sometimes he'll tell people where he's going, and sometimes he doesn't. And he's got to be careful. One day this may not end well.
So anytime I'm in the mountains, I always figure it's been a pretty good day. Find one of these, the heart-shaped stones. This one's kind of neat. Has some nice color. So take that one out. I don't know. I always find one on a lot of trips, and got quite the pile of heart-shaped rocks now. But I just find them interesting. I know a lot of people really like them. So always interesting, neat to find different shapes and forms they come in. Nice triangle rock too. I need to put this in the pack. Have no hands free now at the moment. Alright, so I'll do that. Robert L. Ward was born in Salem, Oregon in 1933. Okay, hold on a second. Hey Frank. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, well, kind of, we're working on the OTF for episode 4. I'm trying to finish that up. It's like 110 degrees, dude. So I'd really like to wrap this thing up. So yeah, I'll give you a call back later. No, you're in this episode. We got some OTF stuff and all. It's not like just me and Woody and that kind of thing. No, Frank, I promise you, you're in this episode. There is Frank Augustine content in this. Yeah, so yeah, I promise you that. I will make sure you're definitely part of this episode. All right, I'll catch you later, Frank. All right, bye. All right, we'll take that from the top again.
3,
Yep.
2, 1.
Robert L. Ward was born in 1933 in Salem, Oregon. He came to Arizona in 1958 from Oklahoma. Okay, seriously? Hey, Woodrow, what's up? Yep. No, we were just there. This, it was just a week ago we were there. Yep. No, it's I'm trying actually doing the OTF stuff for episode 4 right now, and so I'm gonna try to get this stuff done. It's kind of warm out, so I'm standing out here, but I'm trying to get this done so we can get the edit and post production done and get out. So yeah, we'll let you know. Picnic up there at Lynx Creek. Yep, okay, definitely. And Frank's feeling up to it. I'll make sure we get Frank to come along. But yeah, we'll come up and do some panning and make a day of it. Okay. Yeah, bud. Okay, so let me get back to this and get this wrapped up. Yeah, I'll try to give you a call later. All right. All right. Thanks, Woody. Take care. Bye. All right. Let's try to get to this again.
3,
All right.
2, 1.
Robert L. Ward was born in 1933 in Salem, Oregon. In 1958, he moved to Phoenix, Arizona. What the hell? Hey, Deleel, what's up? Hey. Yeah. Hey, we're working on OTFs right now. Yeah, no. Well, hey, you didn't, we're trying to fit you in. We're trying to get stuff in there. You got to send me something, man. If I don't have anything to put in there, I just can't dress someone up and call him Eric Deleel as much as I'd like to. No. So we're working on it, finishing up, get the post-production of episode 4 done, and then we're going to jump from there, and then moving on, forward. But, so, yep. So, yeah, if you got something, hey, we can get something in there, name dropping you, everybody's wondering where the real deal is, and so we'll do that. So so whatever. Okay, so I let me get back to this, and I'll try to give you a call back. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. How many more times? Okay. Ready?
3, 2,
Yep.
1.
Car. Okay.
3,
Yep.
2,
Yep.
1.
Robert L. Ward was born in 1933 in Salem, Oregon. He came to Arizona in 1958 from. Oh my God! Am I getting a text now too? Hello? Hey, Mags. Hey, what's? Mags never calls. No, it's not real. Robert L. Ward was born in Salem, Oregon in 1933. Came to Arizona from Oklahoma in 1958, and so began his journey into the Superstition Mountains. Bob was known as a writer, wrote for the Gold Dust Gazette, the Apache Sentinel in the 1970s, under the name of Val Paris. Wrote a number of articles. He was also known for his sketch work and artwork that he did, freehand drawing, which was excellent. Has to be seen to be appreciated. In 1990, Bob wrote a book, Echoes of Lost Ripple. Jesus Christ.
I didn't know that was the name of the book.
Robert L. Ward was born in Salem, Oregon, 1933. In 1958, he came to Arizona from Oklahoma. He was a Korean War veteran. He started with the Gold Dust Gazette, writing some articles in the 60s. 1970s, he wrote for the Apache Sentinel under the name Val Paris. He's known for his freehand sketches and drawings he would do of things, the legendary tales and myths he spoke of in the mountains. Before Bob passed away in the 1990s, he had written a book, Echoes of Lost Ripples. Nope.
Is it Ripples of the Lost Echoes?
Yes.
It's the complete.
All right. Bob Ward was born, he wrote a book, and then he died. And we're pretty thankful for all that. Oh, God.
What was the name of that book?
Ripples in my bathtub. Okay,
Ripples
let's go.
in the
Let's
bathtub.
go. Just a note here, there's a reason that unscripted television is scripted, and this is the very reason why. All right. Robert L. Ward was born in Salem, Oregon in 1933. 1958, he came to Arizona from Oklahoma. Bob was a Korean War veteran. He wrote for the Gold Dust Gazette in the 1960s and the Apache Sentinel in the 1970s under the name Val Paris. And someone's... Yep.
Yep. How does that make you feel?
Kind of sad. Robert L. Ward was born in Salem, Oregon in 1933. Came to Arizona in 1958 from Oklahoma. When he first came, he wrote for the Gold Dust Gazette in the 1960s and later under the Jesus. I'm a professional. Robert L. Ward was born in 1933 in Salem, Oregon. Came to Arizona in 1958 from Oklahoma. He was a Korean War veteran. Started out writing for the Gold Dust Gazette in the 1960s and then 1970s for the Apache Sentinel under the name Val Paris. He's known for his freehand sketchings and drawings that he would have to be seen to be appreciated. Before Bob's death in the 1990s, he wrote a book, Echoes of Lost Ripples. And a lot of myths and tales, Peralta stone maps, a lot of different journeys Bob had through the wilderness area. He had settled at Burns Ranch, and out there he literally lived his life in the superstitions. Well known by so many people, he was known as a teller of tales and teller of tall tales, short tales, and tales of just all kinds. But what interested us was one particular story. While scouting for Legend of the Superstition Mountains, I noticed a map that fit an area in Fish Creek where we were traveling, and the car's coming too goddamn close. One take, everything I do, one take, and then this. All right, Robert L. Ward was born in 1933 in Salem, Oregon. He came to Arizona in 1958 from Oklahoma. He was a Korean War veteran. Started out writing for the Gold Dust Gazette in the 1960s and then wrote articles for the Apache Sentinel in the 1970s. Bob was known also for his freehand sketches and drawings that he would include with a lot of work he had done. They have to be seen to be appreciated. He was the teller of tall tales, short tales, long tales, fat tales, all sorts of tales of the superstitions. He settled in eventually at the Burns Ranch area, and that's where he lived for many, many years in the superstitions. Well known to so many people, friend to even so many more. There are light stories, dark stories, all kinds of stories about Bob Ward. Before his death in the 1990s, Bob wrote a book, Echoes of Lost Ripples. Interesting book, covers the Peralta stone maps, the Latin Heart, covers Jacob Waltz, the Peraltas, just about everything you can imagine. And one particular very short story occurred, Bob included in that book, and it stuck with me. While scouting for season 2 of Legend of the Superstition Mountains, I went out and there was an area that seemed very, very familiar to me. After looking back at his book after I'd come in, I realized the story that he had in a map in the book was actually the area I'd been to. Well, in 1909, a gentleman traveling through Fish Creek Canyon, and he noticed two men up on a ledge. He asked them for a cup of coffee. He joined them, and they showed him the silver ledge they were working on. Many years later, he passed this information along to another gentleman. That person met Bob in a restaurant, knew who he was, approached him, brought him the map, showed him the original map, gave it to Bob, told him the story, and left. Bob didn't get his name, even said he did not know the man, never saw him again. Word went out, said he located the area. We believe we've located that area and some of the principal things in that area. While the silver ledge, it could be cleaned out, and even if there is some silver, just to process the silver wouldn't be worth it to us. But to find a map in an area that we believe the Peraltas and Gonzales were, and that coordinates with mines in that area, if we are able to find something like this and find any artifacts or anything in the area that dates back, it moves us further along in our story. And that's why right now we're definitely in this area of Fish Creek Canyon. Horse Mesa. Fish Creek Canyon. Still have some water back in here. Very quiet. Probably about 60 degrees this morning. Might as well get moving on.
Well, Wayne has a habit of running off to the mountains alone. Now, on this particular day, there were some things that I wanted to look into research-wise, and I had to go over and visit with Tom for another issue, and we were able to follow up on something important.
So, moving down the canyon, we try not to do too much with the camera. Obviously, this is not where you want to twist an ankle, break an ankle, especially when you're on your own. But there was a bunch of movement up here. Just caught it on the corner of my eye. Up there just to the right. Maybe 50 yards up. So figured I'd run the camera just for a couple minutes. See if I stir anything else up. So far, nothing. Usually the day you will see things are days like this. When you're by yourself. Mind your own business, and then you stir something up. But yeah, it's certainly quiet back in here. Very quiet. Until I start moving. It's not so quiet. Get a little another moment. The birds. Quieter. There's usually a little more activity. Haven't seen any bighorn sheep. So kind of keep my eye out today. It's a good, cool morning. A good morning to catch them back out here in the canyon. Interesting rock. Regardless, taking in some of the landscape, if you look up, you see a little cave up there that I refer to as the Triangle Cave. It's only accessible from the top, and I've really, doesn't seem to have too much depth, but if you were looking to stick something in somewhere, that would be the heck of a place to put it. But we're definitely in the area. I want to search in, get to a little more history here in a few. But this rock, definitely very cool. by myself today, so I got to be careful of how much stuff I want to haul out of here, because it is just me, and it will suck to load down too much. Not interested in that at all.
Well, I can tell you one thing about Tom Collenborn. He's forgotten more than most of us will ever know. And he has a habit of remembering things that he's forgotten, if you trigger him in the right way. Well, one thing about treasure hunting and lost mine hunting, it's like 99% research. And during this whole process, the name Gonzales keeps coming up. I mean, you have Bob Schutz and his Gonzales map. You have Tom and a family member, a Gonzales, that he was friends with. It's just like over and over again, you keep hearing the same thing. And usually when you run into something like that, if you can find that one little piece of information that nobody else has, you have a better success at finding what they were looking for or what they left behind. Well, Tom and I decided to run over to the house where the Gonzaleses lived, which was not far from his house. We wanted to see if we could get some further information on what they were up to back in the Superstitions. So we pull up to the house, and their garage door was open, and there are some young kids in there, not real young, you know, like in their 20s, and an older guy. And the guy looks at us like, what the hell are these guys up to? And he walks up to the truck. Well, as soon as he walked up to the truck, he recognized me from the TV show. And Tom was friends with Gonzales, and he was just wanted to, we were doing like a little follow-up. We wanted to ask some questions and whatnot. Well, we asked the guy if Gonzales' wife was still alive, because we knew he had passed away. And the person that's living in that house now lived next door. He bought their house, but what happened was when Gonzales died, about maybe a week later, his wife passed away from brain cancer. But fortunately, this guy's son walks up, and he used to go out with Gonzales to his areas. And he claimed that Gonzales wasn't looking for gold, he was looking for a family treasure.
One of the things that I like in a lot of these canyons that makes things really difficult is there are really a lot of these areas. If there was someone back, there aren't really established paths. So tall grass is good for hiding snakes. I prefer to travel in the area where I can see a lot of burrs. See these little burrs. But yeah, tend to try to stay out of the tall grass if I can. See, I always run into a lot of snakes and that stuff. They just sitting there, and usually they kind of start to realize you're closing in, and you find yourselves in a little standoff there. So you gotta kind of make do the best way you can as you work your way through the canyon. I don't like to bring a machete. We didn't the last couple of trips as we worked our way through the canyon. I know that's rougher for the other guys. I don't mind taking the lead, and I usually end up pretty cut up. But I've usually spared everyone all the blood. But the reason being, I'm not looking to cut a path for everybody else. It's bad enough when we do this, and people have come in behind us. We went to check the area out and use what we've done to figure out what we're doing or where we're at, making it easier for them. It's not my job. So, kind of working my way down through here through the washes. I'm gonna have to cross the water here soon. I think it's right in this area up here. I run out of real estate on the north side of the creek. But working our way into summertime, still have water. There's springs. So one of the nice things I like about this area is there is water year round. But so as I continue and make my way through here, I haven't seen any bighorn sheep. And I like this ridge right here. I've caught them up on here a number of times. I don't see any, but I usually catch them up on this ridge. We'll see if I get around the back side of it, if I get any elevation. But yeah, it's a beautiful canyon. And like I said, each trip, just a note, there's been no one in here besides myself. There's that cave. Just a heck of a place to get to. And I would think probably the best way would be to come down Horse Mesa to it. And I think I can just, oops, I didn't have it in frame, but I think you can just about make the backside of it inside. So it doesn't look like it has too much depth. But if you were looking to cart something down and stash it away where it'd be almost impossible for someone else to get to it, that'd be a good spot. Just saying. So, okay, I'm going to get back to making my way down the canyon here. And maybe do a little OTF when I take a break. An interesting spot coming up by the water, the boulder here, and you can see tracks, all four-legged, but you can see them here. Kinda nothing that looks particularly that fresh, but obviously a bit of a spot. Through here, I've made it across that creek. The cat claw and stuff.
Now Gonzales, he's like the great-great-great-great-grandson of the original Gonzales family that was into mining out here. And somebody in the family passed something on to him. Well, Tom thought that Gonzales was finding a little bit of gold down in Fish Creek. At first he thought it was bat guano that he was mining, but one thing he said about Gonzales, he was very close-mouthed about what he was doing and what he was looking for. Well, one thing Tom did mention, Gonzales had a zip line that ran from the top of the mountain down into Fish Creek, and he would use that to run his supplies down. He wanted to put a trail through to his area, but they wouldn't let him do it. So this was a way to get his stuff down to the bottom fairly easily. Well, one thing that the neighbor kid said, he took quite a few trips back with Gonzales, and he thought he was looking for treasure. He didn't think he was prospecting for gold, but he was looking for something that he had knowledge of.
Alright, we're rolling. So, one of the things I was actually pretty interested in was a map in a book available, I believe, at both the museum, Goldfield, a number of places, called Ripples and Lost Echoes by a gentleman by the name of Bob Ward. The book is very interesting. Anyone who's into the stone maps, the Latin Heart, Knife Hill, number of different interpretations of who knows what. It'd be an interesting book for you. Plus, it's a bit of a number of stories, Bob's times in the mountains, including Celeste Jones, among other people. And I think most people find it very interesting book. In reading the book, Bob had a map. I believe it's 1903. Some guy passed the information along to another guy. He'd been back there in the early 1900s. And this other individual passed along the Ward. Where said he went out, located it, drew out some stuff, and then went on his way. It was supposedly to locate a silver mine in Fish Creek Canyon. While working my way through Fish Creek, I came upon a spring, and then down from it, a cave. Intrigued me, because the map does have a spring and a cave on it. So I thought, well, I wonder what I might find here. What made it all even more interesting is that Tom Collenborn told Frank and myself there was an individual back up in here, and he was finding some gold, and he stayed in the cave that we located, and the cave, to description, matches Bob Ward's cave. We were just down the hill. You can't see it from there, but you're starting to possibly see it open up in front of us. I got a bit of it last time, but I've taken pictures of it before. But yes, this is the cave. And we'll get up here. Check the area out. And one of the things about it, interest was, there was this wall in the description. Ward claimed it was 40 feet wide, 40 feet high. I'd estimate it 25 by 30, maybe a little more than 30 feet. It could come close to 40, but it fits what the description and what he said almost exactly. So we believe we have the map. Well, everyone who's bought the book has the map. But we found this. We don't know how long the footing is. That was the map that Ward, this is his book. I do not believe that was the map the other individual gave him. So, but see, occasionally people have been up here. Not too much, well, but nothing recent since the last time we were here. So we kind of checked the area. I'm sure there's nothing here. I believe the story from Tom would come probably, I might have to correct myself on this, but probably the late 70s, early 80s. That gentleman was here. We're trying to verify, get a name, find the claim he may have had. And somewhere, according to everything we would believe, he was working a pit on a 3-foot ledge. And that pit and 3-foot ledge is a silver mine. And now it's been more of trying to figure out exactly where across between the spring and here, across on the ridge below Horse Mesa, the silver mine is. The interest in that is finding it, so we could take and put things together here. If you can find one mine and then another, and then you have maps of mines, like say something on the Gonzales map or something, you can actually try to work things to scale and see if you can find another one. So today is a bit of that, very much so. There's supposed to also be a shrine down the canyon, so I'll put a little time looking for that. But this is primarily, this was what we were going today. Frank wanted actually not up on Horse Mesa. He wanted it behind me here, work higher, and then work back down low and look across the ridge. What I'm going to actually do today is work my way down to the spring, and then I'm going to work my way back up and across from here and work opposite and see if I can find anything of interest. And the description was it was a pit. So I will see, and we'll see. Hey, maybe that'll be something very cool today. Some silver. And I'm going to continue to pick up samples, which is not a lot of fun today because that just means everything's not getting lighter as I go today. Everything's getting heavier, and it's just me on my own. So, but a very quiet day. These are the best days I have in the mountains, always. And here I am. I'm at the, obviously the cave still. Figured I'd kind of elaborate more as I'm sitting here. I haven't had a cigarette for an hour or so I might have one. Anyhow, this is the map you can find in the book. I'm not giving anything special away. And if you look, you'll see small cave with wall, cord inside. And there's a north side spring. Some of the directions don't seem to fit, the north-south, but it depends if someone's turned around. But the spring is kind of a north side spring. And like I said, it says 40 feet high, 40 feet wide. I don't know if this is, yeah, this usually reverses things, so all the writing might be backwards. So it does say small cave with walled court inside. And it fits the description. It is a small cave. Goes back a little into the back. Has the walled court. And while not quite 40 by 40, close enough. And in Dutch hunter terms, this is very, very close. I mean, usually it's not even anywhere near scale. One of the other interesting things, the shrine, I'm not quite sure. There's not much there to work off of that. And I will take a look over and see if I can see something that just clicks when I'm looking there. There's cement huts on ledge that he says were crushed. So we'll see what's up with that. But yeah, this is definitely, it's a nice day. I don't think it's above 60, 65 degrees. So noises in the canyon with me. So I'm gonna have myself a bit of a smoke, relax, and then come on out of here. But this is the cave, and like I said, very interesting. Oh, that's a nice shot. Little top of the cave, if I can get in there. But yeah, the ridges behind me, Horse Mesa. So anyone that really, after this comes out, wants to locate this, please don't do any vandalism or anything to this. It stood for a very, very long time. It's a very nice place. If you're looking to stay a night back in here, this would be a very cool place to do so. Give you a place to kind of sit back. And I generally don't like to stay in places like this because occasionally the ceilings start to fall, but hey, so be it if that's what you kind of want to do. So anyhow, that be that. And I will wrap this up for now and have my cigarette, have a drink, and then move on down the canyon. Maybe get a little footage in of that as well. Okay. Get my footing here. Oh, there's a rattlesnake back in there. Okay. Well, we'll get a picture of him in a second. again. I have a friend, I guess, back in here. Little guy. He's made his way back. And he's just curled up there minding his own business. I'm minding my own business. So I think we're pretty good. But yeah, one of the reasons climbing back in these things and stuff, you don't want to just poke your hands into just any place. So, but yeah, that would be something you wouldn't look forward to if you were sleeping down here and that crawled in with you, huh? So I don't want to really disturb him. He's pretty much, I don't even know if he's awake yet. I'm not going to get close enough to disturb him. If I keep my voice down, he'll probably be fine. He hasn't moved. So I was looking to get a shot from inside, kind of looking out. So I thought that would be a cool shot. That's a heck of a place to get up in there, bud. More power to you. You're not camouflaging very well, though. So, but, yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the depth to get a full-on opening shot, but good enough. I don't think there's enough words we can always express how much it means to us and all of us to have been able to share it and the friendships we have with Tom Collenborn. I know saying something like this, Tom's cringing. He's pretty modest, but there is no one else more experienced with the flora, the fauna, the geology, the mining, just the history of the mountains. He's been there for so long, spent so much time in the mountains. There's just so much he's shared, and he continues to share with people. I'll never forget as a young man meeting Tom, and he answered my questions patiently. And even today, the encouragement he gives my children in their pursuits and so forth. When we speak Legend of the Superstition Mountains, I think Frank and I would both agree wholeheartedly that it brings to mind our good friend Tom Collenborn. And we just like at this time to say thank you to Tom. He doesn't always want to be involved in these type of projects and these things. Again, speaking to his modesty, but so much of this wouldn't be possible without we're able to go to him time and time again, and he's able to give us direction and advice. And Tom, Frank and I, all of us, we just like to say thank you.